college football podcast for everyone and everyone else. I'm your host, John Buhler, lead writer, fansided.com. I'm joined today by a man who believes Bristol is the real capital of America and not DC. That Winston-Salem belongs better together than apart because no love will tear us apart, quite like what you decide to put on your tray at cookout. There is no joy in division. Cody Williams, content director, fansided.com. How you?
Dude, you didn't throw any references to Northern California, which is also ACC country nowadays.
You know, we lost it up on the hate, man. Yeah,
That's
I got my tray at cookout. I got some of those clam pizzas.
that's right. Of course, it's a cookout classic
I was
always.
I was transferred to the mind of Stephen Jenkins. And here we are.
That's right. But no, man, I'm doing good. Back in the homestead after a weekend away, but doing good, man. How about you?
Pretty good, man. Done with some dog sitting finally. I decided to wear a softball shirt today to celebrate
There we
2 point
go.
softball, or watching it in the middle of the
Yeah.
night.
Well, just watching it at every hour possible, and yeah, enjoying myself because I was not playing softball. So
Oh, I don't think Harry Carey was playing baseball when he was calling Cubs games.
no, absolutely not.
What was the name of the guy you're holding back? The guy was holding your belt so he would fall off the bleachers.
It was Antonio, actually.
Dude, he was like in our shorts, man. He was just like,
That's right.
uh, speaking of which, the dog that we dog sit for that has the same vibes that we gave Antonio to, um, he has no shame. His sister dog's food aggressive, so you got to put him in his cage with a blanket over it. He has to have a slow feeder, and the Arizona State podcast was filling up a slow. Well, I'm trying to not break here, but I'm doing a terrible job of this. She's filling up his slow feeder with cage-free meat.
Oh my God. The
See,
irony, the irony
see,
is incredible.
you're getting fed cage-free in a cage. This football start.
Oh God, I'm surprised there's not a 90s song about that. That sounds like a 90s punk rock song for sure.
If Tonic had another hit, man.
Oh,
If you,
100%.
if you could only see outside this cage.
That's right.
Billy Corgan in shambles.
That's always. Billy Corgan's never not in shambles.
And before we're gonna false start just a little bit longer, be sure to hit that like button. Like, I don't know, you're at the top 40. And smash that subscribe button. Like I did some cold cannon that I made with a lot of extra really long cabbage because I can't cook worth a damn. I'm just worth there.
Hey, like I said in the pre-show, man, you gotta have extra cabbage and you want it, you want it long and stringy.
Hell yeah. The show's already off the rails. So we've obviously false started here. So our first and 15 today is going to be the definitely maybe and the Paul Finch satin kimonos for the ACC.
Hmm.
Uh, got a few ideas here. Where are you leaning for your definitely maybe?
Unfortunately, I'm leaning on the Duke Blue Devils, man.
Same.
Yeah, dude, I think Duke might actually be pretty damn good this year. Like, at what point has Manny Diaz given us a reason in the past like 5 years to not believe that he's going to do something really good with this team? And like honestly, even if you go back to Miami, like he got done a raw deal at Miami. Like Manny Diaz is a hell of a good coach. You upgraded at quarterback from Malik Murphy to Darian Mensah. I like that switch a lot. I think you're going to be capable of more offensively. You really didn't lose a whole hell of a lot on the defense, which was really the calling card of that team. They uglied up a lot of games and ended up going bowling because of it. And I think now that you have an upgraded offense, you've upgraded the quarterback, upgraded the talent around that position. I think Duke's going to be pretty dangerous. And I feel like we haven't heard a whole hell of a lot about Duke, but when you talk about other teams that are kind of in that like one or like kind of like in that second tier of the ACC, I feel like Duke isn't the first instinct to go there, but I feel like they probably belong there.
Yeah, this was my number one as well. I think when we look at the ACC, it's like Clemson and everybody else. You were
Yeah.
basically looking at like who is Clemson going to play in Charlotte? In your first couple of teams, you may have preferences. You may like Miami more than SMU than Louisville, and then Georgia Tech's getting grouped in there. But I think the gap between and then Duke's next.
Yeah.
Like where Duke is like I don't think the gap between them and what Louisville is all that much.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Duke could essentially be what SMU was a year ago.
Hmm.
I think I've got them going 7-5, 8-4, but like uh I think they could beat Clemson at Clemson this year.
Yeah, 100. I think they could beat anyone in the ACC, quite frankly. And like, it's the ACC, and let me go ahead and tell you, as an ACC guy, like one of these teams that we're talking about here is going to end up sucking. Like that's going to happen. Like if like Louisville, Georgia Tech, might like if Miami ended up going 6-6, if Louisville ended up going 6-6, if SMU and like one of these teams is going to be way worse than you think because that's just how the ACC is every single season.
Yeah, there's a lot of winnable games on their schedule. I mean, you could beat North Carolina State, you could beat Georgia Tech at
Hmm.
home, Virginia at home, Wake Forest. At Cal is not going to be easy because it's across the country, but you could do that as well. And then you got Elon and UConn in the non-conference.
That's right.
But you also have some really tough games. You host Illinois, you got to play at Tulane, and you got to play at Syracuse and at UNC, which I think I've actually got UNC winning that game.
Yeah, so that transitions nicely because I actually do have a second one for both the definitely maybe and the second kimono today. My second one's North Carolina. And to be clear, I'm not very optimistic about North Carolina. I've been clear about this, but I can't erase the idea of my mind that Bill Belichick is coaching this team. Steve Belichick is coaching the defense after he did a pretty damn good job at Washington last year. He also brought along 3 or 4 players from that Washington defense to North Carolina. I'm high on Gio Lopez. I think Gio Lopez is a damn good quarterback. There is talent on this team. This is not a talentless roster. It's just been so tumultuous that I think everyone gets the sour taste in the mouth, myself included. But I do think that North Carolina is not like there's a chance that we're sitting there midway through the season and we're like, oh, what do you know? The Bill Belichick thing actually worked. Like that's not out of the realm of possibility for this team.
It could go really either way. Like,
Yeah,
but I totally agree with you. It's like, yeah, Bill Belichick's coaching this team, and Gio Lopez is a better quarterback than what you had last year. So like,
exactly.
that's a positive here. And I'll say my other one was Georgia Tech, and I
Okay.
feel like again, it pays me to say that. Losing Tyler Santucci doesn't help on defense. You still have Buster Faulkner for one more year. You've got Brent Key under contract. You do lose your AD to Jay Bat to Michigan State, so maybe that kind of
Mhm.
takes back some of the emphasis on what makes Georgia Tech athletics been really good last couple of years. But I think the other big thing is like you have such an experienced quarterback in Haynes King, a guy that
Yeah.
Faulkner and Key trust a lot. It really comes down to like if you can beat Georgia in Atlanta, it's not at Bobby Dodd, so maybe you actually have a chance. But
Yeah.
like 10-2 is possible, but you're going to need to have the best season Georgia Tech's had probably since '08 for that
Yeah.
to happen.
100%. Yeah. I have nothing but confidence in Georgia Tech. Like Brent Key's giving me nothing, no reason other than like no reason at this point to be anything other than confident. You know what I mean?
100%. Who are you not confident in?
Uh, Sorry to our friends out in Tallahassee, but I'm not convinced about Florida State, brother.
Yeah.
And it feels like the closer we get to the season, the more there's kind of a little bit buzz of like the bounce back for Florida State happening. They're not going to go 2-10. Like they're going to be
No.
better than that. Like, but when is the last time we saw a Gus Malzahn offense have a really high ceiling? It's been a minute. It's been
Yeah.
a minute. And
17. Yeah.
yeah, that's almost a decade. That's almost a decade ago. And like I just feel that in this age of college football, like Gus Malzahn is a hire that will stabilize things for this program, but I don't think it's going to make like what Florida State fans are expecting this to be a turnaround. Like, yes, you have good, like you've added to the talent in the transfer portal. Yes, you have Thomas Castellanos. Yes, you have Deuce Robinson. You've got nice talent on here on this team, but like I don't think it's the talent that we saw when Florida State was going undefeated in the regular season. I don't think it's anything close to that, quite frankly.
No.
And I just worry that like Florida State fans are expecting a bounce back to look like not 8 to 10 wins, let's say, and I think this is more of a 6 to 7 win team.
A lot of moving pieces. You're asking a lot. Yes, Castellanos knows the ACC pretty well from his time at Boston College. This is brand new territory for Gus Malzahn. So maybe hurry up and run, boys. Let's go, boys. Maybe it doesn't work there. But I do think the defense will be better, but at the same time, Norvell is facing a lot of pressure. And the
Mm,
worst part of it all is like he's been so portal heavy really since he's come there.
hmm.
And that's hurting Florida State considerably because you can get really you can get whoever you want into school there. And that's a huge advantage of why that's historically probably been the strongest program in the ACC since they
Yeah,
joined the early 90s for that reason. Also, they care a lot about football. And I wonder like if just the lack of alignment there seems like it's difficult to think they're going to win 10 games.
agreed, 100%. It definitely feels still a bit discombobulated.
Yes, and I'm swinging for the fences here. I'm going for the kill. So I've got two here. Both of these teams, I have them going 9-3 and not making the playoff. That would be Miami and Louisville.
Hell yeah, brother. Love that. Love that.
So I don't know if you have either of those as like a second one, but I'll
I do
unpack.
not, but I don't hate either of them.
My thing with Miami is, well, yes, it's the Mario Cristobal of it all, and I think that you're going to lose a game you can't afford to do, and that hurts you considerably. Also, like I watched Beck play a lot at Georgia the last couple of years, immensely talented, and I'm just going to say this. Like when he was at Georgia, I'm like, he encapsulated a lot of what made Matthew Stafford special, Aaron
Mhm.
Murray special, Stetson Bennett the fourth special. Like he could really sling it like Matthew Stafford could do.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to make all the throws like Aaron Murray did. He's got a little bit of that clutch gene in him too. That is what made Bennett so special. But he's kind of worse than them at all three. So
Yeah.
he's kind of like the Aaron Murray's Matthew Stafford Bennett Bennett Murray Stafford you have at home.
That's right.
And probably the one thing I heard is I think my dad was saying this, like, I don't think he throws a catchable ball. And I thought about it, like, I think that hurts him too. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't land in the receiver's hands quite as well. And Shannon Dawson's expecting him to do it a lot. So it's gonna be very close. Like it wouldn't shock me if they make the playoff, but like I'm kind of down on them with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've not made my feelings about Miami hidden. They're probably my third or fourth favorite team in the ACC this year if I was doing, like a power rankings. I don't think the defense is going to be fixed overnight, man. Like I think we've seen enough in college football in recent years that a coordinator change only helps but so much. Like a lot of it is you really have to kind of change institutionally what you're doing on that side of the ball, and that doesn't happen in a year. And the defense cost Cam Ward and that team last year a shot at the college football playoff because it certainly wasn't the offense's problem. I do have questions about Carson Beck. Like the injury still worries me, and like as you said, like he's an immensely talented guy, but I don't like. I think he gets the label that you just put on him of like being the like a little worse version of all of those three because we've never seen him kind of put it all together. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you see the flashes and it's like, dude, this is why you could be a first round pick. But then you see other plays and it's like, where's your head at? Like, what are you processing right here? I don't quite understand it.
Where it's at, you got two tables and a microphone, or you get two luxury automobiles and and a Cavender.
That's right.
I just pulled that out of my ass.
I love it. It's great.
So I'll throw Louisville in here, and if you've got anybody else, my Louisville thing is like not as talented as Clemson, but I'm afraid that the program kind of embodies what I'm a little bit fearful with Cade Klubnik, where like I don't think that they can beat anybody as underdog. They got some James Franklin
Mhm.
driver tendencies to them. So you look at Louisville's schedule, and I mean, like you've got some very easy wins, like Eastern Kentucky, James Madison, maybe you should beat them. Bowling Green in the non-conference in Kentucky. Okay, you're probably gonna go 4-0 here.
Mhm.
Then your other conference games are like, okay, at Pitt, maybe you lose that, but I think you win. Virginia, Boston College, at Virginia Tech, and Cal. But then the problem is like, you got some other stuff here, like you got to play Miami, you got to play Clemson, you got to play at SMU. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like you're coming up short in every single one of those games.
So my read on Louisville is similar, but a little bit different. I think they go 1-2 in those three games, but I also think they lose one that they're not supposed to. Whether that's Pitt, but like that's kind of the Jeff Brom thing. Is like he's going to get his team ready. Like if you remember last year, Louisville beat the piss out of Clemson. Louisville left like took no prisoners against Clemson against with a team that I think is frankly a little bit less talented than the one we're looking at in 2025. So like well, I think Louisville has the ability to beat these teams, but they do underperform more often than not in those games. And they all like it's a very Marcus Freeman Notre Dame thing. There's always one loss on the schedule for for Jeff Brom in Louisville or Jeff Brom at Purdue when Purdue was humming. There's always one loss on the schedule where you're like, how did that happen? What went wrong there? And like you can't really quite diagnose why, but it went wrong for sure.
Like you could win in Dallas at SMU, but then you lose
Mhm.
home to Virginia.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Some dumb nonsense like that. My other Satin Kimono team, it's also North Carolina because here's what I think about the North Carolina Tar Heels. This is not a team that's going to win 5 to 7 games. That's my read on this. We're working on the polar extremes with the North Carolina Tar Heels this year. This is either an 8+ win team or a four or less win team
oh
because
man,
it's either going hey, we like Bill Belichick, this thing is working, or holy hell, do we need to get Bill Belichick out of here after one year? Like, there's no in between for how this is going to go. I would almost guarantee it. Like, that we are working with the extremes when you have a 70-something-year-old head coach who's dating a 24-year-old who might also be pulling the strings and running the program from behind closed doors. Like, there's no way this doesn't either go really well or really freaking poorly.
That's not how I feel about that, but I guess like I mean
I
your
mean,
hands
let's
up
be clear.
your
This is
hands.
probably my fandom.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like I don't see a world where this is an average team. Like I don't have I have very strong feelings both directions. Like it's either going I'm ready to get my heart broken or be happy, but I'm not ready to just be like, oh, this is kind of what we expected.
I guess you're kind of convincing me there more. It's like it's been tumultuous the entire time. Why would you expect just bland? Because it's not going to be that.
Exactly.
That is a damn good point there, man. I've never, well done, sir. But I mean, like, I don't know if Bill Belichick, when he calls a play, he calls it Whoa Nelly, but it's getting hot in here.
Yes, sir, it is.
Who are the five hottest head coaches in the ACC? You're gonna love mine.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
All right, at number five for me, I'm gonna go with Virginia Cavaliers head coach Tony Elliott.
Okay, okay.
The Who's have gotten better every year under him. He navigated tragedy
Yeah.
his first year there at 22. Still haven't gone bowling yet. And even though like outside of Bronco Mendenhall, like we're too young to really remember George Welsh too much, like
Right.
Virginia's not really been that great of a program.
No.
We knew he's not going to beat Bronco Mendenhall, but at the same time, like you're a guy who left your alma mater at Clemson. You know the ACC incredibly well, but you can't have 4 years in a row of not going to a bowl game. And I think if it comes down to like you're 5-6, you're playing Vatech and Commonwealth and you lose, they may need to go in a different direction.
No, I have Tony Elliott at 4. And a lot of the same reasons you mentioned. I think the one thing that really concerns me is do you know who's starting at quarterback for Virginia this year?
Oh, it's Chandler Morris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, God.
Not exactly on like a kind of a need to make a bowl game season, the quarterback I want at the helm of my program. Doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. I'm a little worried about Tony Elliott. Like I think he strikes me as someone who he's going to get a coordinator job if he does lose the Virginia job. And then he's going to get a second crack at it a couple years down the line at being a head coach. And I think he'll do really well on his second crack at being a head coach. I think this is a learning experience for him. And like, let's be clear, when you go back to the tragedy, like that's not anything that you're like prepared to deal with,
No.
whether like no matter what your experience level is. So like it's been tumultuous there since that point, in my opinion. Like it's hard to pick up the pieces after something like that, quite frankly.
Yeah, I think going to a place where there's so many academic restrictions, the recruiting's not always there. I mean, basketball is kind of always reigning supreme there, even though the program's not doing so hot there.
Yeah, yeah, RIP Tony Bennett, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. You hear that? That was a shot clock violation.
That's right.
So who do you have at five?
At 5, I've got someone who is in year 1 on the job, and that's Frank Reich. Um,
I got him much higher.
yeah, I probably should, frankly. I felt bad. I think I have him at 5 because I felt bad putting him on here, but like Frank Reich hasn't been a good coach in a minute, brother. Like it's been a
No.
hot minute since he was a good NFL head coach. He got this job because he knows Andrew Luck. Like I don't see any other reason why that didn't happen. And Stanford's going to be a very bad football team, like a very bad football team.
Oh, yeah.
Like might win a game bad. Like it's not great.
Yeah.
Could go winless in ACC play type of bad. And I think Andrew Luck and Frank Reich both know that this was a stopgap solution and not a long-term thing. And yeah, I don't see him like again, he probably should be higher. I only put him at 5 because it is the situation and like he's a first-year head coach. I don't want to be too mean to the guy.
I'm gonna be really mean.
Do it, man. Do it. Do it.
So at number 4 for me, I've got Florida State head coach Mike Norvell.
Okay. Okay.
We'll probably talk about this on a Thursday show. When we get to the Big 12 with Mike Gundy. They're in a very similar area where it's like you're at a good program. This can't happen again.
Right.
And I think what hurts Norvell more than Gundy is Gundy's been there for everything that's been good at Oklahoma State. Like he's the quarterback in the 80s, records that are there, handed the ball off to Thurman Thomas, Barry Sanders, what have you, replaced Les Miles, been in the job for 20 years. Norvell's like in years 5 or 6 at this point. you've had a couple of good years, you've had some really bad years. And I think, again, the recruiting thing is an issue. Then also the fact you fired all your coordinators. And what if, Castellanos, what if Malzahn, what if Tony White, what if, Deuce Robinson, and it doesn't fit? You're going to have other candidates out there to replace you.
Mhm.
Mark Stoops can come down from Lexington.
Yeah,
This is the job
100%.
you mentioned that John Summerall could potentially leave Tulane for. And guess whose alma mater is Florida State coaching the ACC? That would be Manny Diaz.
Hmm. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think he'd love nothing more than to stick it to Miami every year.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, Mike Norvell, like, you got to go balling, dude.
Yeah, I have Mike Norvell at number 3, and you said it very perfectly. This is just not acceptable for Florida State, man, and I think that's really what it comes down to. Like, you're looking at a program that, frankly, has national championship expectations, and I don't think that's overstating it. Like, I know it's been a minute since we've seen that, but like, that is the expectation in Tallahassee, and I feel like Mike Norvell in some cases has gotten a longer leash than other coaches would have, just because of the situation that he inherited. Like, Jimbo had started breaking the program. Willie Taggart made sure he put the nail in the coffin, and
Sure
then
did.
they handed it to Mike Norvell. So like, I understand why he's been given a longer leash, but like, the leash is only but so long. And coming off a 2-10 season, like, anything, like, if they live up to what I think they are in terms of, wearing the satin kimono this year, like, I don't see Mike Norvell surviving that.
So you get fed cage free in a cage.
That's right. 100%. 100%.
All right. So you've got your 5, 4, and 3. I got to go with my 3. That's going to be California Golden Bears head coach Justin Wilcox.
Okay. I think we have the same 5 coaches, if I'm not
Yeah, I think
mistaken.
so
Yeah.
too. Yeah. I think he's a good head coach.
Hmm.
I think if it doesn't work out for him at Cal, Dan Lanny's just going to hire him at alma mater
Yeah.
at Oregon. Why not? But it's just like, you keep giving me your toughest challenges. It's like, we thought you'd end. Cal's in a very interesting spot. You lose Fernando Mendoza to Indiana. You lose Jaden Zackott to Oklahoma. Your longtime AD, Jim Knowlton, is retiring. You're bringing in like 2 co-ADs. I read
Hmm.
that up today. You're playing in a conference that's the other side of the country. One team's really figuring it out with SMU. Another one's like admitting defeat already in Stanford.
Right.
God forbid you lose to Stanford in the big game.
Yeah.
And but it's just like, you got to hope that either Devin Brown or JKS make it happen, which I think they could. I'm not
Hmm.
ruling that out at all, but like, it just kind of seems like they're quiet quitting on Justin Wilcox, and he just won't give up.
No, he won't die. I have him at number 2, and this might be the year that he dies, unfortunately, because, man, it's a really unforgiving situation, because not only do you have 2 quarterbacks who have some upside, like, let's not, like, I'm not the biggest Devin Brown fan in the world. JKS I do like a little bit, but like, you have an inexperienced guy and a guy who I don't think is very good. So like, that's not what you really, both are
No,
inexperienced as well. And like, the I think the underlying part of like the transfer portal exodus is, I'm pretty sure every like returning starter they had on the offensive line also left in the portal, so they're breaking in an
that ain't
entirely
great.
new offensive
No.
line. Not exactly what you want with the quarterback situation that they have, the backfield situation that they have. I think it could be a really tough year for Cal, and frankly, it wouldn't surprise me, like, because Justin Wilcox has stuck this out and honestly overperformed in a lot of years that were similar to this, where it's like, how is Cal going to win football games? And somehow Justin Wilcox has managed 5 wins or something like that of what we thought was like going to be a 2-win team. I like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like almost like, if it's framed a little kinder than like Cal has fired Justin Wilcox, if it's not like a mutually agreed to part ways type of deal.
Could you imagine if he turned heel like Troy Taylor? Because I think Troy Taylor was a Cal alum, and he goes coaches at Stanford.
There we go. There we go.
That'd be unbelievable. So my number 2 is your number 1, and you know who my number 1 is. So
Yes, sir.
that's
Yes,
number
sir.
2 is Brent Pry at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, brother.
You gotta do better than this, bud. You gotta do better.
Yeah.
You were hired to replace, I believe, Justin Fuente,
Hmm.
because you were told everybody that you could recruit the Tidewater region, which shouldn't be that hard because you're in effing Virginia. This is where your
Right.
talent is. Michael Vick is from there.
This,
Like, this is
like, literally look at the Frank Beamer playbook.
that's
The
like saying
end.
you that's like saying you can't recruit and out of Atlanta if you're at Georgia, or out of Charlotte if you're North Carolina. It's like, you should be able to
Right.
do this. But then you also have the fact that, like, there's really no separation between how we feel about Brent Pry and Tony Elliott, whereas we're more like, we want to believe Tony Elliott can do it because like we feel like the system is kind of working against him because it's a harder job. Like maybe Virginia Tech pulls back to what it was pre Shane Beamer days, but it's like look, the ACC needs Virginia Tech to be good. It needs Georgia Tech and a Virginia Tech to be good. And Georgia Tech's about there. Virginia Tech is not there. And also, everybody else that followed Brent Pry as the defensive coordinator at Penn State's had success. Manny Diaz, Tom Allen. We know what Jim Knowles can do. It's like at some point, like this is kind of a weird hire, and it's probably not going to work out.
No, man, it's number one for me pretty easily, pretty comfortably. I think there's a good chance that we see multiple people on this list lose their jobs this year, but like I don't see I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel for Brent Pry. And like we talk about all these other jobs, like the ACC is full of jobs that are difficult to win at. Like Boston College, incredibly difficult to win at. Syracuse traditionally in football has not been easy to win at, especially consistently. You got Duke, you got Wake Forest, you have all these jobs that Georgia Tech that are traditionally very difficult to win at. And you have Manny Diaz succeeding at Duke. You have Fran Brown doing what he did at year one at Syracuse. You have Tony Elliott basically matching you at Virginia, which is a much harder job than at Virginia Tech. Like you go down the list, you have what Dave Clawson did at Wake Forest for so long. Like you have all these instances, and then obviously Georgia Tech, but you have all these instances, and Brent Pry probably has one of the easier jobs in the ACC, and he is in the middle of the pack with all of these teams. Like that is a true indictment, and like let's be clear, like that's not acceptable in Blacksburg. Like I don't think Blacksburg gets the necessarily the notoriety of like Athens or SEC programs for being like, but they give a damn about their football, man. Like there's a reason it's one of the best. Lane Stadium is one of the best environments in college football. They give a damn, and like right now it's really hard to because you have it really seems like Brent Pry is holding this program back.
Oh, I mean, it's like you go in there to enter Salmon and you get your ass kicked by Boston College.
That's right. Like Lars Ulrich is out there just like lapping you.
He's calling plays, man.
That's right.
4 verts every play. Didn't work the last 4 times, but we'll keep doing it, Lars.
Hey, that's right. Do it to it, baby.
To it. I also think that SMU, I get another job that's not particularly good. Rhett Lashley's kind of come in and made it work in much more difficult circumstances. Again, like people are winning at much more difficult jobs. Like Pat Narduzzi's had more success at Pitt.
Yeah.
But Bill O'Brien at BC, like you go across the board, like nobody else, maybe Norvell, but even Norvell's had better success than what Pry's had at this point.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Norvell's been high variance. Pry hasn't even been high variance. It's been low ceiling, which is not acceptable.
No, not at all. And I'm just going to go out and tee off on everyone with Frank Reich. Like,
of course, man. Yeah.
There's a chance he made us quit midway through the season. Like, it's okay. So Andrew Luck hired him. Let's see. Hey, let's bring in the coach that mangled my body.
That's right.
In conjunction with Ryan Grigson. Like, this is some just Stockholm syndrome. And I get it. You think like, okay, Frank Reich's a man of faith. Frank Reich's a good guy. This could work. You could Jim Grub it, but like we saw the Panthers, how that went, and we saw the end of it with the Colts. It was just, I mean, it was just 2 car crashes in a row, just brutal. Like everyone just rubbernecking on the road. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah,
it used to be good. You won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. You have the greatest comeback in NFL history with the Bills.
You won a Super Bowl with Nick Foles, man. Like seriously.
I know with Big Nick energy, man. You did it, dude. You did it. And then it's just like, could you make it 1 year? The price you. I also think the fact they hired their new AD, which is Jim Donahoe. He was an executive with Nike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he's like, yeah, I don't like this. Like, Andrew Luck, how about you just go coach, bud?
Yeah. Honestly, at this point, why not? Like, I didn't even consider the idea that Frank Reich's responsible for Andrew Luck being in this position and not still in the NFL, frankly.
Andrew Luck's a day younger than me. He's 36.
He should still be playing. He should still be playing football.
Look at Freddie Freeman having the time of his life with the Dodgers, man. He's going to the Hall of Fame, dude.
Oh God. Yeah. It's not going to end well for Stanford or Frank Reich, quite frankly.
No, I don't think Frank Reich is going to be on the podium this year. He might be coming to you live from a couch.
Yes.
But not Eric Crouch's couch.
A couch for sure, though.
Yeah, couch. How do you spell couch?
COWCH, baby. Let's go.
Move. All right. Our 5 best candidates to contend for the Heisman out of the ACC plus a sleeper. And for the record, any of these things also include Notre Dame because Notre Dame we're using this
Mhm.
exercise as well. So number 5 for me, I got Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King.
Same, brother. I got him at 5 as well.
He's been in the program a while. He can run. I don't know how much he can pass, but he can run. It
Mhm.
seems that Buster Faulkner trusts him. Buster Faulkner's really good as an OC. Brent Key believes in him. And if Haynes King plays up to his standard, he could be Joe Hamilton of his generation. So that'd be great for him.
No, 100%. I think he's got the role in this offense, I think, to put up big numbers, like just all purpose numbers. Like I think he can throw a little bit. I don't think he's anything special. I don't think he's an NFL caliber thrower or anything like that. But man, he can run and he can run this offense. He can run Buster Faulkner's offense really well. And we think that the talent at Georgia Tech has definitely improved. Like they've worked the transfer portal well. They've recruited and developed well, really well in Atlanta. And yeah, I'm really high on what Haynes King's capable of this year. It's going to be, it's if Georgia Tech lives up to expectations, which I think we both think they're going to, if not exceed them, then Haynes King's going should definitely get consideration in this conversation.
Yeah, if you're quarterbacking a 10-2 team at Georgia Tech, like you're probably going to make the playoff, or you'll be very close.
Yeah,
You should go to New York for that. So
agreed.
right there with you. Who do you have at 4?
At 4, I have my boy Kevin Jennings, man. Absolute superstar. Didn't acquit himself the best in the college football playoff,
No.
unfortunately. But I think he was a young kid, man, last year, and like now he's coming back for has another year of experience under his belt, and like even in with how bad the college football playoff was, I think back to the ACC championship game where he also started off really horrendously against Clemson, and then made it a game because he's that like he just pulled himself up by his bootstraps and made something happen in that game. I think this kid's a very special player. I think like there are some flaws in his game. There's no doubt about it. I think like I would probably have Kevin Jennings higher on this list if I thought SMU was going to be just a little bit better, but I do think that they pull back. I don't think it's the quarterback's fault. I think that relies more on the Mustangs defense than it does Kevin Jennings, but his numbers as a dual threat quarterback, I think could be pretty prolific this year. Again, we're talking about a Rhett Lashley offense.
Yeah.
Tends to be some pretty prolific numbers.
I don't think SMU pulls back. I've got him at 3.
Hell yeah, brother.
So right there with you. I think he's special. I think that he's got a certain ad-libbing component that I think works really well in college. Remains to be seen if it's going to work in the NFL. NFL comp is probably Tyrod Taylor.
Mm. I like that a lot. Also, shouts to Brent Pry for not getting a Tyrod Taylor either, you know.
I mean, like Jennings is from Dallas, so
Yeah.
I want to play here, so let's make this happen. So I think SMU is going to have a really good season again. And at 4, that's where I've got Carson Beck because like
Okay.
going to have a lot of yards and stuff, but you're going to lose that game or two. That's going to keep you out of the playoff. There may be a play where like there's gonna be a moment where like he's out of the game. Like they're supposed to go to victory formation. They don't do it, and Carson Beck's just over there on the side, just like
Just Snapchatting his little heart out.
Snapchat. Can you believe what's going on out here in this idiot? But yeah, I mean, like Beck could totally do it. Beck could be Cam Ward here. I'm a little dubious of that, but I still think he's a really good player. He's gonna have a good season, just maybe not that good.
I have Beck at number 3. So, in doing this, I kind of shocked myself, but the more I thought about it, I'm down on Miami. Don't get me wrong. But again, my biggest concern with Miami, well, my two biggest concerns are one, Mario Cristobal, as always, a perpetual concern when it comes to wherever he's coaching. And then B, the defense. Like, I just don't think the defense levels up to the degree it needs to with the offense taking a step back, but not like a huge step back. Carson Beck's going to put up numbers in this offense. Like he's going to be well protected. He's going to be able to air it out. And you look at Cam Ward, like yes, he had the dual threat ability that probably like not probably definitely a lot more than Carson Beck has in his arsenal. But at the same time, I think Beck's a better natural thrower of the football. I think that this offense is going to be able to push the ball downfield. And you're going to see a lot of big plays. I just think that Miami's going to lose some games 41-38 and things of that nature. Like I just think that's where Miami's destiny is until you get this defense fully fixed. And so I think that Carson Beck is going to put up the numbers. I just wonder what the consideration is going to be with those numbers when Miami isn't as much of a serious college football playoff contender as some might have them going into the season.
It's all about the U, as in the over.
That's right. Take the over, baby.
I realize I'm wearing Oregon colors. That's not gonna land well for me here. Please don't screenshot this.
That's right. That's right.
We may have the same two guys for 2
I
and
think we
1, I
do.
think. So at 2, I've got Notre Dame running back at Jeremiah Love.
Same, brother. Same.
I almost wanted to put him at one because I think he's going to be the straw that stirs the drink. Frankly, I think he's the best running back in
Mhm.
college football. You've got
Agreed.
a two-headed beast there at Penn State with Katron Allen and Nick Singleton, but Love's going to make it happen. I wonder if they're going to have enough huge games on their schedule. They're going to have about three or four that are good, but like if you need to have about five or six, if you're showing up like you need to have like an Ashton Genty type of season, I think, to do it,
Yeah.
which is possible, but like you got to overcome so much, I think.
So I'm with you on like you do have to have like just to, as a running back in general. I think you have to an Ashton Genty type of season to be considered for the Heisman as a running back right now. Like I just think that's where we're at. Like I think it's much easier to get in that conversation as a wide receiver among quarterbacks than it is a running back currently, just because I think that the devaluation of running back that we've seen in the NFL is just it affects the way we perceive it in the college game, unfortunately, whether or not that's fair or not. I think Jeremiah Love's capable of that though. And I think Notre Dame's schedule is actually really advantageous to that happening because Notre Dame is going to be favored in probably all 12 of their regular season games, I would venture to guess. Like I don't
Yeah.
see them being an underdog. Whether or not they go 12-0 doesn't really matter to me. But what I do think stands out to me is they're going to be favorites. They're going to be better than all these teams, but it's still a level of competition high enough that you're going to get more respect than an Ashton Genty did for playing in the Mountain West, for playing a Mountain West schedule. Like it is a tougher schedule than a Mountain West schedule. And I think that Jeremiah Love has the ability, has the offensive line, and has like the advantage of playing at Notre Dame and the talent around him to be able to, I think, take like put up the similar, maybe not as good, but like similar numbers to be considered for a Heisman Trophy. But he's going to have level of competition working for him as opposed to against him, which was the case with Genty.
I think that's totally fair. The level of competition is better. I don't know if we have necessarily the stats, but
Yeah,
just go, man. Go rush for 2,000 yards. Just do it.
do
Okay.
it, man. He's fully capable. He's a hell of a player.
He is. And I don't know if this guy's a hell of a player, but he's number one here. That's Cade Klubnik at Clemson.
Yeah, I think we both have our doubts about Cade
Yeah.
Klubnik, but like at the same time, we recognize that he leveled up last year.
Yeah, he
And
did.
like I think that's where I think our doubts really spawn from like the idea that when you think back to 2023, we were both pretty out coming out of that season on Cade Klubnik. We were both looking at that like, I mean, this like is this the guy? Is Garrett Riley the guy? Like we weren't talking a whole hell of a lot about Clemson last year. And then last year comes out and Cade Klubnik looked damn good, man. Cade Klubnik, you know, there were some moments where you could still see there were some growing pains, but there were also some big moments where he stepped up. And like you think about the SMU game in the ACC championship, like people were like, "Oh, SMU's going to assert their dominance. Like SMU's been the better team, yada yada yada." And Cade Klubnik came out there and just shoved the ball down their throat. Like it was a phenomenal performance from him. And when I continue to look at Cade Klubnik, like I think that we have our preconceived biases from the start of his career at Clemson. I think he's leveled up, but I don't know how much yet. And like I think it's very easy to put him at number one in the ACC because I think he's the clearest candidate based on like caliber of team that he plays on. They're go like I would assume not to jump too far ahead, but Clemson is a playoff lock for both of us.
Yeah.
And like one of the few teams in the ACC that can say that. And he's the quarterback of that team in a pass heavy offense where you know he's going to put up numbers. He has a ton of wide receiver talent around him with the likes of Antonio Williams and others. Like this is a team that is going to allow Cade Klubnik to be in the spotlight and also put up the statistical dominance that you need to be in the Heisman conversation. I think the more interesting conversation would probably be, and we'll talk about this in a future episode, but like where he fits in like the national picture as opposed to the ACC.
Yeah, it's the talent's there. I don't necessarily know he's got the size, so he's got to be really, really good to earn that like high end first round pick. Um, he's got to put up a lot of numbers. But I'm trying to think like who this is. Like this is kind of like Bo Nix initially. It's probably the best example where
I
it's
don't hate
like
that. I don't hate
uh,
that.
like like Aaron Murray. I think when he was at Georgia, like was a little bit. You saw it earlier with him, but it wasn't as didn't shine as bright at the end. But
That
it's like the early part of Klubnik's career was like, looks a little pitiful. But then he made, like I said, the SMU game. That was the first time, like, okay, he can actually beat somebody in a situation he's not expected to, or the rocks are the cards are against him. I think outside of Miami, you play pretty much everybody of note in ACC play. Oh, and then you host LSU, and then you got to play Palmetto. So you got
mhm.
like two playoff caliber teams on your schedule out of the SEC too. So like go make it happen. Go win 10 more games and see if you can get Clemson to Charlotte and beyond.
I don't my comp for him in terms of like how the career arc that he's kind of had and like how we perceive him, a little like Baker Mayfield, honestly. Like you think
Okay.
about Baker Mayfield starting out at Texas Tech and like basically gets like not welcomed back to the program, you know what I mean? And then shit like gets plays his way onto the Oklahoma team, plays his way into being a starter, and it's like this dude just won't quit. Like he won't go away. And it's not the same caliber of like recruit or anything, obviously, because Cade Klubnik was a former 5-star, but like in terms of like the way the perception has kind of shifted with Cade Klubnik and like, but at the same time, there was always that element with Baker where it's like, can you really trust the dude who's out there crotch chopping on the sideline? Like, how much can you really trust him?
There must be something in the water in Austin.
That's right, baby.
Actually, I don't think it is. I think it's the moonbeams, dude.
That's right. It's the UFO activity in the area.
I hope they make the next watch when it's gonna be in Austin. Just keep Austin in there. Just do
That's
it.
right.
Oh my God. But yeah, it's interesting that we have like a certain level of doubt with Klubnik, but there's also like a certain level of like undeniableness to him. I don't
Mhm.
think there's really any other player like this. Even like with Drew Aller, like they're still like maybe not undeniable with it either.
Yeah, 100%. I think it feels with Klubnik, there's like inevitability, I think is a good word for it. Like it's like
Yeah.
with everything that he has around him and with the talent that he obviously has, like he's gonna be in the conversation. And like whether or not he levels up is gonna be the difference between him being in the conversation and him being in the conversation to win. Like I think that's kind of where I'm at with Cade Klubnik.
Clemson's never had a Heisman Trophy winner,
Mhm.
but he fits the mold of what they probably want if it does happen.
Exactly. 100%.
And let's look at our sleepers here. Maybe we have the same guy.
I don't know, man. I got Gio Lopez here.
I
So.
don't. I've got the other quarterback. I've got Darius.
Okay, yeah, I thought Mintz is probably the smarter pick, but I had to be a real homer here and go with
Yeah.
Gio Lopez. Look, if we're talking about the best case scenario for North Carolina, Gio Lopez is a huge part of the best case scenario for what North Carolina looks like. And you want to talk about spotlight? Hell, there's no need to like belabor the point. Bill Belichick's the head coach of North Carolina. There's going to be a lot of eyes on the Tar Heels. And man, Gio Lopez last year at South Alabama, imperfect, I would say, but a lot of that had to do with who he was playing with at South Alabama. That was not a very talented team with the Jaguars last year. And I look at Gio Lopez and he's a very talented runner. And for an offense that I do think lacks some skill position talent, I think he's going to put up a lot of dual threat numbers. And if I'm painting the best case scenario, it's his legs evening the playing field for North Carolina to be able to do stuff. So like if he has like something close to 1,000-yard rushing season, which I don't think is necessarily out of the question with how much they're going to run him, that's going to open up the passing game. I think he's a talented passer, like more so than he gets credit for. And it could open up things for him to put up more numbers. He's 150 to 1 to win the Heisman. It's not likely, but it's someone who I think deserves at least a little bit of consideration here.
I think I get behind that too. I don't really have a whole hell of a lot to add to that, or really to what I have to say about Darian Mensah, other than like this is a guy Manny Diaz handpicked. He's like, Malik Murphy, you're pretty good, but there's a guy down in New Orleans who might be a little bit better than you. You need to go to Corvallis, bud.
Yeah, 100%. And I like let's not overlook the fact that wanted him enough to poach him from Tulane. Like I understand Tulane is G5, but Tulane is probably just running it off of my head. Like, would you say Tulane's probably one of the, if not the most, one of the most well-resourced G5 programs? Like, if they wanted to keep, if they had the, like, they could have paid to keep Darian Mensah, but they instead decided to invest otherwise.
Look, if North Carolina and Clemson join the SEC, they're going to get Memphis and Tulane. They'll be ready to
Hmm.
go.
Exactly. Like, it's a well-resourced program, and like, you're able to poach a G5 quarterback, like a returning starter. Like, you're not poaching someone from, the depth chart. You're poaching the returning starter at Tulane. That means something to me.
I also think like you're going from a team that's like could be a serious candidate to make the playoff to a guy that like to a team that's like on the fringe of that, the
Yeah.
extreme fringe of that in the ACC. You're really betting on yourself here. I mean, more power to him. I guess maybe
Uh,
enough power to him where like I respect what you're doing. I'm not gonna watch it. It's the Richard Gere of it all. Sting.
that's right.
I don't think you can't spell Mensa without Sting, right?
That's right, 100%. All the same letters are there, baby.
His middle name is G. Darian G. It's
That's right.
uh, I don't know what Jim Morris Senior is doing right now or thinking about, but playoffs, you kidding me?
That's right.
Our locks, contenders, and pretenders in the ACC. If we include a team that's loosely affiliated with the ACC, I would bet you we both have the same two locks.
We do indeed. We do indeed.
That'd be Clemson and Notre Dame.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Don't really have much more to like say about it, but like there's like seven teams in college football that just feel differently, and they're both in it too. We've talked about this with Clemson is the same group of Penn State where like roster and the coaching staffs is at like a peak right now. Like this is gonna happen. And whereas like Notre Dame and I don't know what's going on with your lights. That's crazy.
Sorry. It's the second monitor. I went into dark mode there for a second. I apologize.
It'd be like that sometimes. You go, and then Notre Dame just has a really high floor like Oregon does.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like Notre Dame, Oregon's a very good comp. Like, I'm not sure necessarily what I think Notre Dame's ceiling is, but damn, am I sure that they have an extremely high floor. Like, that's kind of the Marcus Freeman special, man. If this team, like, I'd be absolutely appalled if this team didn't win 10 or more games. Like, quite frankly, like, you have the requisite talent level, you know your identity, you know what you are. You're still a defensive team. Like, you replace Al Golden very well. Like, I have a lot of faith in Notre Dame, and then with Clemson. I think they're all like I think the one thing with Clemson that has me the most intrigued and why I'm scared to say this, but why they're like one of my highest considerations to win a national championship this year is I feel like Clemson, more so than a lot of teams in the country, their variance is with a high floor and a high ceiling. And like one of the highest floors in the country, I would almost say. Like, I don't see many worlds where Clemson is disappointing
No.
necessarily. Like, I think this team's winning 10 or 11 games most of the time in
Mhm.
most simulations that you're going to run, sometimes 12 as well. And I think that their ceiling is easily winning a national championship with the talent they have on both sides of the ball. Like, when you look at what this team is, like, you have Cade Klubnik, you have an offensive line that is not elite, but is fine, can hold up against the ACC for sure, and can hold their own against higher level competition. You have one of the best wide receiver cores we've seen in Clemson in probably 6, 7 years. Like, it's been a minute since we've seen Clemson look like this on the offensive side of the ball with the talent that they have. And lo and behold, Clemson's defense is still Clemson's defense,
Yeah.
man.
And
And go ahead.
Tom Allen's coaching on that
Yeah,
side of the ball.
exactly. Yeah,
Like
you
that's
upgraded
the
from
big
Wes Goodwin to
thing.
Tom Allen. Like,
Yeah.
I think things are going in the right direction for Dabo and the boys, brother.
Yeah, like they're in Penn State, like this is the window to do it. Notre Dame, it's probably not gonna happen, but like you catch somebody off guard, maybe you do. And then Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, you lost a lot, but like you don't rebuild, you just reload.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Okay, so we feel we're good about that. I've got three contenders.
I actually have four. I think it's the first time I've had more contenders than you. So,
We're positive, man. This is great. So I would venture to guess that we both have SMU as a contender,
yes, sir.
Miami as a contender,
Begrudgingly.
and Louisville as a contender.
Yes, sir. I also
And
have the Yellow Jackets in there.
okay.
So this group of four teams, and we kind of talked about it on the from the jump, talking about Duke. Um, I think Duke could deserves like some consideration for this, but I think of these four teams pretty much in the same bucket, man. Like, I understand that Miami and SMU probably have a higher ceiling than Louisville and Georgia Tech, but I also think that Louisville and Georgia Tech might have higher floors. Like, I trust the infrastructure of what these two coaches have built. And like, it's not that I don't trust Rhett Lashley. I just think that last year might have been a little bit of an outlier. I think that SMU could pull back a little bit, but the way I look at this group of contenders is I think only one of these teams is actually going to get in. I don't think we're going to see multiple of these get in. But I have a really hard time picking between these four of who could separate themselves, because none of the four would surprise me if they did separate themselves.
Yeah, like I'm right there with you. So like I have Georgia Tech as one of my two pretenders, and probably
Okay.
the reason for that is look, man, I don't think you're gonna beat Georgia.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that doesn't hurt you in the ACC, but that hurts you like heading into an ACC championship, particularly. You got to give it all. You're playing at the big body bends. It's not historic Mark Richt Field at Bobby Dodd Stadium, but like both teams are going to start to take that game very seriously
Hmm.
because like the win's going to be had there. Like Georgia's like, okay, we got to get to I don't know, maybe we got to get 11 in case like
Mhm.
something bad happens versus Texas or whomever in the same stadium a week from now. Georgia Tech's like, we got to get in. I just don't feel like anybody else, like Miami or SMU or Louisville, really have anybody on that schedule. It's like, well, damn.
Yeah, 100%. No, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
And then who do you have for your pretenders?
So I have two pretenders. I've got Duke and Florida State here, and neither like I want to put Duke in contenders really bad. I mean, morally and ethically, I don't because I hate the program with an undying passion. But like my college football brain, I want to put Duke up there. I worry about two things. One, I worry that the talent level is going to catch up to them at some point. Like Manny Diaz is a phenomenal coach, and I think he gets the most out of his players. I'm just worried that the most isn't good enough in a lot of cases. The other thing I'm worried about, let's not forget the fact that, yes, we're high on Darian Mensah. I'm pretty sure he's a true sophomore. Like, this is
Yeah,
still a very young player, has not really tasted power four football to this point. I think that could hold them back, even if he is overall impressive this year. Like, I still think we could see some stinkers from him at some point.
that's part of why I have them on there too. I also think that they've not necessarily had like the momentum or like the media hype train kind of working in their favor as much as Georgia Tech has. I think also Haynes King being more experienced
Mhm.
is in this league is a bigger deal for that. And so like it was Georgia Tech and Duke are my two pretenders. If I had to kick it out to like another team or two, I'd probably throw Pitt and Syracuse in there.
Yeah, I think we're fishing in the right pond there.
Because like Eli Holstein is really good, but like it's Pat Narduzzi land.
Yeah, I mean, like a high octane offense with a good quarterback and Pat Narduzzi coaching the team. What could go wrong?
And then with Fran Brown had a great first year there with Kyle McCord. I think you're gonna have similar success there as Steve Angeli, but
Mhm.
like, what if you don't?
Yeah, what if you don't? I mean, it's still Syracuse, still not exactly the easiest place to win.
No, Paul Pasquale doesn't grow on trees. This is
It is
Foster.
not. No, no. Neither do Kyle McCords.
No, McCord's, but oranges do.
That's right. That's right.
And I don't think Ramsteins grow on trees either. Let's move on to some Du Hast.
They might. You never know.
It's a door knocker thing. It's like a doorstop. Like
Hey, look, I German engineering. Who knows what they've got over there?
uh, I could put together VCR. I could put together a CAT scan
That's
machine.
right. That's right.
Liam Schreiber. So, Du Hast, Cody. Does Notre Dame have a realistic shot of getting the number one seed in the college football playoff?
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I went like when I first read this question, I was prepared to go two S's. The more I thought about it, I can go one S. I'm going Duhas one S, and I think the realistic shot comes from something I mentioned previously, something we've talked about. Their schedule. Their
Yes.
schedule is the perfect middle ground for them to potentially go 12-0. Like it is you're playing good enough teams that no one's going to penalize you for it. Like even if no one on the schedule is ranked in the top 25 to go in the year, if there's not multiple, by the end of the season, there's probably going to be several who end up ranked there, and like probably more because like there's a lot of good football teams here, and so you're not going to get penalized if you do lose those, but if you win them, you're also going to get credit. And when I look at the other, potential number one seeds, when you're talking about Penn State, when you're talking about Clemson, when you're talking about Georgia, when you're talking about Texas, when you're talking about Ohio State, man, all of those teams have a pretty damn daunting schedules ahead of them. And even if you go 11-1 through those schedules and win the conference, a 12-0 Notre Dame is still going to be pretty damn attractive and pretty hard to dethrone in that situation, especially if like some of these wins that we're thinking are going to look good end up being great because one of these teams on Notre Dame's schedule ends up overperforming and they still beat them. Like I think that it is not impossible for Notre Dame to go 12-0. And when you look at the landscape of college football, particularly in the college football playoff picture, there is enough happening around Notre Dame that 12-0, as crazy as it sounds, is probably good enough, even if you don't play in a conference championship game in some scenarios.
Yeah, like Brett McMurphy, then of the Action Network, I don't think he was with On Three yet. Put that out there as their number one seed. Like, no way. But I looked at this, and I'm gonna go do Haas one S as well. You're playing 10 power forward teams, and your two group of five teams are rival Navy, and then you got to play Boise State. So that's about as good as it gets. It's kind
Yeah.
of like your cupcake is at Stanford, and I'm like, that's still a rivalry
Yeah, it's
game.
still like that's you can't help that your rivals in the crapper right now. Like that's not your fault.
So like looking at their schedule, you're going to be facing a ranked team at Miami. You're
Hmm.
going to probably face a ranked team versus Texas A&M and then Boise State. So you have three there. I don't know if anybody else is really going to move up there. Maybe at Pitt at the end of the year. USC, I don't think there's enough time to really get to that point as well.
Yeah.
But I think really the big thing here is even though you're not playing in a conference, your 12 games are compelling.
Yeah.
But I think the way that it's realistic is this is essentially what needs to happen. You're going to need Georgia and Texas to split,
Hmm. Yeah.
basically. And the winner's going to have to be like 10-2, which I think could happen.
Yeah.
You basically also need Ohio State and Penn State to not go undefeated.
Yeah. Which I mean is not unfeasible. Like as much as many questions as we have about Michigan, like Ohio State still lost to them 4 years in a row, man. Like,
Yeah.
and Penn State still hasn't beaten Ohio State, like under like really in any meaningful capacity under James Franklin in the past like half decade. So like, it's not impossible to see that happening.
Yeah, it's more than a non-zero chance. I'd say it's probably between 5 and 7.5%
Yeah,
chance of happening.
100%. Like
Just because, yeah,
it's not the likeliest outcome. I don't think that's what we're saying, but like if we're talking realistic, hell yeah, it's realistic. Absolutely.
like is a 12-0 like Notre Dame still better than like a one-loss Clemson or a one-loss Arizona State? And that's
I,
tough to
I think
say.
I think that the selection committee doesn't value the ACC and the Big 12 at all, quite frankly. Like I truly believe that in my heart of heart. It's like you go back and look at the seating last year if you think I'm wrong. Like I just think that's where we're at with this stuff. And so like I fully believe that if that were the case and that's what they're wearing, that makes Notre Dame's chances of being the number one seed even better in that scenario.
I do think though, like let's say for example, like Arizona State avenges a loss to Utah at Arlington,
Yeah.
or like Clemson avenges a loss to SMU and Charlotte. Like maybe that gets you in, but
Yeah.
like 12-0 Notre Dame, like they'll value that similarly to 13-0 Ohio State, 13-0 Texas, 13-0 Penn State, 13-0 Oregon. That's not happening. But yeah,
Look, I mean, I like to put on my tinfoil cap every now and then and talk about just
yeah, you do.
conspiracies of the college football playoff selection committee. And man, number one, Notre Dame is good for business. Like having Notre Dame as a number one seed is very good for business because you're going to have Notre Dame fans turning in. It's a huge national fan base that's going to tune in and watch those games, and you're going to draw ratings. You're going to sell tickets. Like it's a fan base that travels for these big games, for these neutral site games, because they're not in a conference. That's what they're used to. And so you're going to have that aspect of it. But then you're also going to have every like the other half of the like college football world who doesn't believe in Notre Dame. Hey, a lot of like Notre Dame is a very hated program. Like
Yeah.
get like born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Notre Dame like gifted everything that they get, don't earn anything. They're going to tune in to hate watch Notre Dame, and like it's going to be a conversation topic that is covered by every media outlet on both sides of it, whether you're pro or anti Notre Dame. It doesn't matter. It's going to be covered from everywhere. And if I'm in the college football playoff selection committee and I'm wanting to draw ratings, I'm wanting to get eyes on this, I'm wanting to sell tickets, that's a good way to do it.
I gotta be nice here. We're in like a St. Patrick's station. I'm a leprechaun.
That's right, baby.
That's where we got Fat Bastard from. I'm a leprechaun. I realize I dress exactly like Wayne Campbell, but I don't. A lot of black shirts and jeans. That's what
That's
we do
right.
here.
Just got to get the
But
black trucker hat. You're rocking it, baby.
yeah, get some crew members. Don't party too hard. They got Phil party way too hard. Oh man, but it's crazy. Like there's no way they can make Notre Dame up there. But you're absolutely right. The hate watch component there is big, big nationwide fan base, international because you have the
Yeah.
Catholic component of it too. So
Yeah.
you have
And the Irish component, not just like, the not that they're, not few and far between, but the non-Catholic Irish people.
they're out there, man. We're here.
That's right.
You want to remember some dudes?
I was born to remember some dudes, brother.
So we're only remembering ACC legends today. I've got a list, and if I don't use them all, I'll put them on my list. I'll put them on the docket here. Since this is your conference, where do you want to start?
So I narrowed it down to three, just
Okay.
to try to keep us, somewhat brief. But first one was a dude who I don't know, man. in a midst of like really great Florida State running backs, I feel like he gets lost. Carlos Williams, Carlos with a K, dude. I freaking loved watch Carlos Williams run the football, dude. He was like, I legitimately thought they would just like clone Dalvin Cook. Like that's what I thought Carlos Williams was. I was like, oh my God, how did they get two of these guys? And like he was unbelievable. I thought he was going to go into great things in the NFL. Didn't quite work out for him, but man, like it was one of those guys that as an ACC fan, like whatever I needed to happen, if they were playing like, thinking about North Carolina, like, oh, I need, NC State to lose. Oh God, they're going up against Florida State and Carlos Williams. He's probably going to run the ball 25 times for 175 yards. Like it was not a good feeling for me as an ACC fan.
I barely remember him, but like he's a big impact for you. And I got a guy who, first guy here, a guy who stuck his neck out. That'd be a Miami Hurricanes punter, Lute Headley.
Hell yes, brother.
Absolute vibes curator. He's like 28 years old, coming over from Australia, tatted up all over the place, neck tats, like forehead tats. Pretty good punter. And Miami, like when they were kind of down there with like the weird part of Manny Diaz, they always had good special teams. This guy was good. He had a cup of coffee with the Saints, but it was just a vibe. And
Mhm.
he was like one of those like Australian rugby like punters too. Like you could just tell like nobody messed with him at all.
No, I remember seeing like a random cut up, like how sometimes on like Twitter and stuff like that, particularly when Twitter was a good place to be at all times.
Yeah.
But like how people like put like a fake announcer cut over of like a clip of someone, and it was him running out onto the field for the Hurricanes, and someone was like someone dubbed in and he's one of the guys that makes you understand that Australia used to be a penal colony. And I was like, oh my God.
Dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
That's right.
Dude, he's a long lost grandson of Bon Scott.
Hell yeah, he is. Hell yes.
um, he's got like I think he learned more in Miami than Angus Young learned anywhere.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, he and Antonio have the same,
Angus Young can't read a book, brother.
he's got the same education as Antonio, just
That's
lost.
right.
He has what he has. All right, who's your second ACC guy you want to remember?
All right, this one's close to home. Going back to being a North Carolina homer, my boy Ronald Curry, uh,
Yeah.
quarterback slash basketball player, 2-year player on the North Carolina Tar Heels basketball team. I'm gonna start with the basketball career because it was one of the funniest things in the world. You know how in high school you would all like the most athletic kid in your high school would always end up on the basketball team, whether or not he knew actually how to play basketball or not. That was Ronald Curry, except in college basketball for North Carolina. Dude was just a bat out of hell. I don't think he had any like marginal skill when it came to shooting, dribbling, like anything, but holy hell was he athletic, and he was just like a bat out of hell running down the floor trying to like lock you up on defense and then like hammer it home in the middle of the lane. It was infuriating at times as a North Carolina basketball fan, but looking back on it, it was hilarious and quite fun. As a football player, like just kind of the same thing as a quarterback. I'm not sure he really knew how to play quarterback at the time, but and I think that was indicated by him being a wide receiver in the NFL. But man, could run all over the place and just make things happen. Like a lot of very mediocre North Carolina teams that he played on, but he was the bright spot in it. He made those games fun to watch for me when I was younger. And now a quarterbacks coach with I believe the Bills, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So yeah, has gone on to have a nice coaching career for himself. So you'd love to see that.
He learned some things. Didn't he like play like in the Tidewater region the same time as like Allen Iverson?
If I'm not mistaken, I think you're exactly
I
right.
think they were like rivals and stuff. And Allen Iverson was like gonna play at either Virginia Tech or like gonna go to
Yeah,
like I was went to Georgetown. Yeah.
Hampton, Virginia. Yep, same area.
Oh man. Yeah, Ronald Curry. I had him on there at one point. Like I'm gonna take him off because I figured Cody's gonna talk about him as well.
Yes, sir. I mean, what a dude. What a
What
dude.
a dude. I'm gonna go with the guy that I think was very, very, very important for his team turning into the behemoth it is. That's Clemson running back CJ Spiller.
Okay, hell yeah.
Growing up in Metro Atlanta, Clemson was kind of just perpetual 8-4. Tommy Bowden was just kind of like little old Clemson. We know they've got like Death Valley or whatever it is. We know like Charlie Whitehurst played there, maybe memories of Woody Dancer as like a kid or something like that. But CJ Spiller was like the first like guys like, you know what, I'm gonna commit here. I'm probably too good to play here, but I'm gonna come here.
Hmm.
And then he really set the notion of like getting guys like the Sammy Watkins, the DeAndre Hopkins of it all. And then eventually, you get up getting like Taj Boyd, then Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, and then you start like recruiting and you get everybody you want. But CJ Spiller was like the first guy to do that, had a phenomenal career in the NFL with the Bills and stuff. But
Yeah.
like when he had the ball in his hands and he was running, nobody was tackling him.
100, dude. CJ Spiller was awesome. Yeah, I wish he could have stayed healthy in the NFL because like that was his big issue. Like whenever he was on the field in the NFL, dude was still doing the exact same things he was doing like just a phenomenal talent. Was a lot. I mean, again, I talk about a lot of these guys and like when we're remembering dudes from the ACC, a lot of the dudes that didn't go to North Carolina are dudes that I hated playing against as a North
Yeah,
Carolina fan. And CJ Spiller was definitely one of them because North Carolina didn't have an athlete on the field that was even in the same like realm.
no.
Not even close, man.
So you got one more?
I've got one more also from Clemson. A little less notoriety, I would say, for our boy, former linebacker James Skalski.
Oh my God.
A 6-year veteran at Clemson, lest we ever forget that. Won 2 national championships with him. And I'm pretty sure he's about as athletic as you and I, man. Like, dude was not destined for the NFL by any stretch of the imagination, but was like, imagine every cliche you've ever heard said for a white football player on a broadcast, like gym rat, coaches, like he's the reason these cliches exist. Like just high football IQ, knew where the ball was going to be, and had he not, he would have been a second and a half late there. But because he knew he was making a lot of tackles and making a lot of plays, and I swear, like, I know Dabo has a son, but I think James Skalski is also his son, whether by adoption or by long lost at birth.
Two thoughts here that I should discuss. Guy loves spiriting people.
That's
Dirty player.
right.
Because he's like, I'm just gonna mess you up
Oh
here.
yeah, 100%.
Also, everybody is saying like all those like cliches, like Butch Jones would have cut his arms off like that guy in Watchmen to coach this guy.
Yes,
He wouldn't have
100%.
be. Rorschach didn't care.
No, not at all.
But watch that movie this and like all of the HBO series, like they start I think what's great about that show is like when people like they just people are often people like from the beginning, so like nothing's
Yeah.
shocking anymore. They don't care about their body count, like how many people are out there. Like Rorschach's probably
Right.
like Batman's like, oh, I can't kill anybody. Rorschach's like, uh,
I,
sick of this out here.
I can't kill this few.
All right. And I'm going to go with the defensive guy here, too. Maybe you can help me remember him a little bit more. I'm going to go with Duke cornerback Ross Cockrell.
Oh, Ross Cockrell. That's a pull, man.
Yeah,
That's part of your Falcons fandom right there.
a little bit. When Duke was good there under David Cutcliffe, he's always been like the Manning quarterbacks coach and stuff. They also had some defense there. I think even back then, Jim Knowles is coaching on that side of the ball. Maybe not at the same time, but they've had some dudes there. But Cockrell, played in the NFL. Like you needed to have like guys like that out in the perimeter, like
Mm.
him, Jamison Crowder on the other side were kind of like guys who like helped Duke like get to like I don't know, Charlotte and lose by 8 million points to Florida State in 13, but like it happened. And I don't know. If it feels like, when you're able to get players like that, you typically aren't going to do, then you can level up. So again, it's why recruiting is so important. And more important, I think developing is really a big deal. I think he was a guy that's like very big part of probably one of the 10 best players in Duke history in recent memory.
No, dude. I it's more of a like I don't remember like specifics about Ross Cockrell at Duke, but like I remember like one of those players that you remember the feeling, and it was man, Duke's defense shouldn't be that good. Like, just don't throw the ball at Ross Cockrell and you'll be all right. And it felt like they just cloned him 6 times and stuck him in the secondary because he was everywhere and like always seemed to be making a play that like screwed up what you were trying to do. And like he probably too good to be at Duke at the time, if we're being completely honest about it. But like, man,
Very, very,
I have a player.
very Vatek. Like he should have been a Vatek.
Yeah, 100%. Like had big hokey energy on this kid, and like it was one of those things where like you're like, okay, they're not throwing to Cockrell's side of the field, like that's smart, and then all of a sudden he just appears and like maybe probably not getting an interception, but he's breaking up the play or like making a tackle because the other DB got burned. Like just felt like he was all over the field and like around the ball constantly, which as a North Carolina fan was immensely frustrating.
And I bet having big hokey energy is immensely frustrating. And this was episode 199 of Fall Start. You can follow me, John Buhler on Twitter, the X at Buhler118. You can follow Cody Williams at TheSizzle20. Follow the show at CFB False Start. Like, rate, listen, subscribe, and view on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere there's podcasts. Give us 5 stars, 5-star review. We do shorts now too. And,
Yes, sir.
yeah, our first 2 shorts, I'm ripping on Lincoln Riley, and you're saying why Arch Manning can't win a Heisman. It's great stuff.
Negativity sells, baby. Let's go.
I'm sure we'll find something negative in this show. The Big 12 will put it out there.
That's right. 100%.
Appreciate all the love, man. Like, and then also next episode is going to be episode 200. So that's real of the show.
I mean, no better way to celebrate 200 episodes than the Big 12. We have nothing but love for the Big 12. They're probably not going to win a national championship anytime soon, but damn it, do we love it.
Big 12, huh? Big gulps, huh? Right? Yeah.
All right, well, see you later.
Okay, bye. And this is False Start.